heart.
The power of the heart. Finding your inner wisdom.
The power of the heart.
Finding the power of the
Finding the
heart.
power of the heart.
The
The power of the heart.
让我们寻回心的力量。The
Power of the heart.
Thank you for joining us today. My name is Yuru Chao. You are tuning in to The Power of the Heart on Dai Radio. Recently, a news caught my attention. Most people are familiar with the geysers and hot springs that make Yellowstone National Park one of the most popular parks in the world. But what happens when that geothermal activity goes rogue? Road melts in Yellowstone National Park due to a newly formed hot spot. Extreme heat from surrounding thermal areas has created a hot spot. The National Park Service posted a photo of the damage to the park official website. Park spokesman told reporters it basically turned the asphalt road into soapy mess. It turned the gravel road into oatmeal-like condition. While this park is world famous for its constantly changing thermal geology and fabulous geyser like Old Faithful Geyser, a melting road came during the height of the park tourist season is causing several popular attractions at Yellowstone National Park to be closed to tourists and hikers until further notice. Park officials are unsure when the road will open again due to the severity of the damage. Yellowstone sits on top of the caldera of a supervolcano, so temperature fluctuations are normal. But the liquefying of pavement that is now occurring is extreme and unusual. Yellowstone has already had more than 415,000 visitors this year, and we're talking about only from January to May of this year. Now, with all these visits, imagine the stress that we're putting onto the local ecology. Earlier this year, a 4.8 earthquake happened in Yellowstone. That's the largest for the area in 34 years. Thank goodness that no damage was reported. Again, seismic activity at Yellowstone isn't unusual, geologically speaking. The rugged land in the park, which boasts the world's largest collection of geysers, was formed by millions of years of volcanic activity. The U.S. Geological Survey said that, at first glance, there was no need for alarm. One of the survey's teams was already in the park and planned to visit the area under the epicenter to look for any service changes or effects on the hydrothermal system. Now, Master Cheng Yang always told Tzu Chi volunteers to save time from sightseeing leisure activity, and instead, volunteers should do meaningful things in life, like charity work and family bonding activities. These are many real-life stories of people who have been inspired by Master Cheng Yang's teaching and changed their life completely. Through these life stories, we see that it is not so hard to change if we put our mind to it. Then we'll not have tourists and motorists endangering their life going to famous sightseeing areas. Instead, we get the same amount of people doing outreach work to help people in need. In our program today, we'll begin with a reading of Master Cheng Yang's teaching about a modern sutra, real-life stories of repentance. Mr. Wu Cao Cai's life shows us a person can change from fishing fanatic to vegetarian volunteer. This reading is provided by Dharma Master De Ling. Then, after a short break, we'll discuss this teaching with Mr. Austin Chu.
Different places, but we walk a single road, walking towards our real home. Still, thought a boat is with us. We come from different yet we share one point of view. We create our lives together in the Tzu Chi world. Together we grow. Though the road is filled with hardships, we must bravely continue on. Though at times we're faced with setbacks, with great love we will prevail. I am glad to have you by me, with you here on the Tzu Chi path. I am glad for what we share. The Tzu Chi world shows the power of love. Come from different places, but we walk a single road, walking towards our real home. Still without a boat is with us. We come from different places, yet we share one point of view. We create our lives together in the Tzu Chi world. Together we though the road is filled with hardships, we must bravely continue on. Though at times we're faced with setbacks, with great love we will prevail. I am glad to have you by me, with you here on the Tzu Chi path. I am glad for what we share. The Tzu Chi world shows the power of love.
Hello everyone, my name is Owen Polivka. My favorite Jingshi aphorism is, it feels wonderful to be loved, and feels even better to love. May wisdom and inspiration be with you always.
Finding your inner wisdom, finding the power of the heart.
The Power of the Heart, Part 4, To Turn Things Around, the Power of Repentance. Today we will be listening to the teaching on A Modern Sutra, Real-Life Stories of Repentance. In today's times, many people think of Buddhism as a religion with abstruse teachings seemingly disconnected with everyday affairs. Back in the Buddha's time, however, the teachings he gave were very down-to-earth, practical, and relevant to daily life. In giving teachings, the Buddha's aim was to help people to understand the truth of life. Being so, he made sure to teach in a way that people could easily understand and practice. As the teachings have been passed down over the millennia, however, they have become more complex and difficult to understand. Many people practice Buddhism mainly by reciting sutras. They believe that by doing this, especially by reciting repentance texts, they can create merit and eliminate their negative karma. Actually, the true way to eliminate our negative karma is by self-reflecting, repenting our wrong actions, and changing our ways. In Tzu Chi, there are many real-life stories of people who once did bad things but have been inspired to change. Through self-reflection, they realize the error of their ways and have turned their lives around. For some, the change has been so dramatic that even their friends and acquaintances say that they are like a completely different person. These people show us that it is in fact not so hard to change. Their example inspires us to realize that the Buddhist teachings are in fact very connected to our everyday sufferings and can transform our lives if we practice them. These stories are truly modern sutras. The following is a real-life story written based on information from Da'ai News, Tzu Chi Monthly, or the Tzu Chi website. Mr. Wu Chaocai is a Tzu Chi volunteer from Taiwan. He used to be a fishing fanatic. When someone told him of a good fishing spot, he would go there no matter how long the drive or how treacherous the road. He would even try to go if weather conditions were dangerous. He would go fishing in the sea, in streams, and other places. To satisfy his urge, he would get up early in the morning to go fishing nearby before he went to work. After work, he would go off to another fishing spot. He never got tired of his obsession. Besides the usual angling method, which relies on bait or lures, Mr. Wu was keen on catching fish using just bare hooks. In this method, the end of the line is armed with numerous clusters of extra-large hooks. He would cast this fishing line into the water and vigorously swing the rod about. The hooks would move about randomly in the water. Fish swimming nearby would become impaled on these moving hooks. As he reeled in the line, the fish would be struggling and blood would be flowing from their wounds. When he saw how many fish he had caught, it gave him great satisfaction. During that period, many people told Mr. Wu not to be so caught up in the fishing, but he wouldn't listen. Then one day, while he was eating a fishbone got stuck in his throat. He tried various folk remedies, as well as medical treatments from doctors. Over 3 months, he went to 3 hospitals and visited 6 doctors to try to get the fishbone out. As a last resort, a doctor even suggested an operation, but warned that there was no guarantee of success. Mr. Wu said, "It was agonizing. I even had difficulty eating and drinking. I was scared of having an operation. When I thought about the doctor telling me that the operation could not guarantee getting the fishbone out, I decided not to get the operation." He started to reflect. It was just a tiny fishbone, yet it had caused him tremendous pain and disrupted his life. What about the fish that he had caught? He must have caused them a lot of pain and suffering. Feeling remorse for his cruel behavior, he vowed not to fish anymore. Incredibly, within a month after making the vow, the fishbone had gone. He was able to swallow solid food again and was relieved of his agony without undergoing any medical treatment. Nowadays, instead of fishing, Mr. Wu is a vegetarian who is devoted to Tzu Chi's recycling work to protect the environment.
Hello everyone, my name is Austin Chu and I'm from the United States. My favorite Jingshi aphorism is, repentance brings purity, vows brings blessings. This teaching from Master Ching Yen helps to remind me that no matter what has happened in the past, you can always, every day is a new day. There are 2 things that the greatest source of regret in life: doing things that should not be done, and not doing things that should be done. Of course, every day it may be difficult for us to be a 100% perfect human being, but no matter what, there's always another chance to try again in the morning. Now, this teaching also reminds us that repentance is not just about making a vow, it's not just about saying you're sorry, admitting your mistake, but it's actually about really making a change, changing yourself for the better. That is what true repentance is about, and that leads you to really take action. So I think it's a good reminder to always take active steps towards improving yourself. May wisdom and inspiration be with you always.
are listening to The Power of the Heart on Dai Radio, tapping into the power of the heart, finding your inner wisdom, finding the power of the heart. Our special guest today is Mr. Austin Chu, a program associate from Tzu Chi USA. He was born and raised in California, U.S. He likes to read, hang out with friends, and go out to eat. He graduated with a bachelor's degree in sociology from Harvard University. He grew up in a Tzu Chi family. Both of his parents are certified Tzu Chi commissioners, and his younger brother participates in Tzu Chi youth group activities. Welcome to the program, Austin. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Why do you choose to work for Tzu Chi?
Sure. So in 2011, I had the opportunity to travel to a national Tzu Chi leadership conference in New Jersey with my entire family. And although I had participated in Tzu Chi youth activities before, in particular Tzu Sao High School Youth Group, this was the first time that I really started to understand the spirit and the principles behind the Tzu Chi's work. In particular, I was very inspired by several of Master's thoughts and sayings. Two things in particular stand out in my memory. One is, in order to change the world, you must change yourself first. In order to inspire yourself, you must inspire yourself first. So the power to change the world really comes from the ability to change ourselves. Ever since then, I became a staff member with Tzu Chi Foundation, and it was in that conference that I realized that the values and the work that Tzu Chi promotes, they're actually values that I held myself. Sure. So, as you mentioned, I graduated with a degree in sociology, and the reason why I chose to go that path is because I wanted to learn more about the ills of society and to learn more about what we can do together to solve some of those problems. And when I was at the conference in New Jersey and I heard Master Cheng Yen's 3 vows that she makes every year. Of course, the first is to purify human hearts. The second is for harmony in society. And the third is for peace on earth without disaster. So when I heard the second vow, which is, again, harmony in society, I realized that was the same goal that I had been working towards as well. In addition, I think the value of compassion and respect for all living beings, I think it's something that I believe in very, very wholeheartedly. In addition, I think I've always considered it important to do charity work or just to give back to the community. For example, when I was young, every Christmas, me and my family, for lunch, we would go and serve seniors in a hot soup kitchen before going home to have our own Christmas dinner. Again, I think that many of the values which Tzu Chi teaches are very dear to myself.
What are some of the projects that you're working on right now? Can you give us examples?
Sure. So the main project I'm working on in New York is working on the Tzu Chi's representation to the UN. In particular, bringing Tzu Chi's work and sharing it with people in UN international humanitarian community, as well as with other nonprofits and government agencies in New York City. For example, in March, during the Commission on Status of Women, we shared with many of the conference goers the work that we've done in Haiti and the Philippines after disaster. In particular, we had volunteers, women volunteers, who shared their stories of how Tzu Chi empowered them to stand up on their own and to really give back to other people despite being affected by disaster. So in addition to my work at the UN, I'm also regularly participating in the disaster relief community, especially after the Hurricane Sandy hit New York City in 2012. After the emergency response operations there, we continued the recovery program, but I've continued to actively engage and build partnerships with the disaster relief community in the local area as well.
Why Tzu Chi wants to build a partnership with UN, the United Nations? What's the synergy there? What's the vision and what's the goal there? I understand about disaster relief.
Sure. So I once heard Master Cheng Yen say in one of her lectures, thank you to her volunteers. She said, thank you for working on a mission which can never be finished. And what is that mission? The mission, the vow, the Bodhisattva's 4 vows to help all living beings, to end all afflictions, to learn all the Dharma, to attain Buddhahood. And it's something that not one person, not any one organization can do, right? And because of that, we want to try and have as many friends, as many partners to join us and work together on this mission as possible. And that's also why Master is constantly asking her volunteers to recruit more people to join us to work on this mission. In particular, when it comes to the UN, though, the UN is a starting point in New York. It's a starting point to reach the international stage. One of the major reasons why we started to participate in the UN is to try and leverage some of the resources that are available at the international level when it comes to disaster relief. That's something we're still working on, and in particular in the Philippines after Typhoon Haiyan this time, we saw the importance of engaging with the humanitarian community, in particular the cluster system, and working together with other humanitarian actors to respond to a challenge of this scale. For example, one initiative which we are currently working on is trying to bring a World Vegetarian Day to the UN, and that's finding other partners that also are promoting vegetarianism, not only out of compassion, but also because of Mother Earth, in order to reduce our carbon emissions. As you know, the livestock production process is one of the largest contributors to global warming and climate change. So I think that the advocacy part is another important aspect of why we are involved with the UN.
Master Cheng Yen reminds us to speak good words, to walk on the good path, because only by sharing all the good words among more people that we'll have more partners to join us on this right path, this good path. And then we can accomplish one of our 4 great vows, which is to alleviate all suffering out there. And that's why speaking good words and spreading the good message is very important, especially I think in the Haiyan disaster relief. Tzu Chi definitely step up and show as a role model to completely turn the situation around for many communities in a very short period of time. And if this process can be replicated, a lot more people will use their resource wisely and save many people who are suffering after the disaster. And hopefully when we spread such words of the good model that we tested and works out well, then we can really kind of have this butterfly effect to spread quickly in the disaster relief world, and not to mention any other work that we're doing. Are you a vegetarian?
I decided to become vegetarian actually for over a year when we have a volunteer in New York. Her name is Grandmother Lo, or Lo Mama, and she came to the service center every single day, 7 days a week, to cook vegetarian meals for all the volunteers. She's an 84-year-old grandmother, and she treated it like not only her job, but her mission. And she really put everything she had into cooking and creating tasty vegetarian meals for us every single day. And she passed away last year in February. And out of dedication to her memory, I decided to become vegetarian as well, to hold on to her spirit within my own heart and to dedicate my meals to her memory and to her selfless love. And also because she taught me something which I still carry with me today, which is how to eat vegetarian meals in a way that's healthy and tasty. So that was how I started as vegetarian. But now it's because it continues because not because of global warming, because of climate change. It's good for the planet, but also it keeps things simple. You don't have to think much about what to eat. In addition, it's really about the compassion. We saw a video of the conditions in which the animals that are raised for livestock are raised, and whether it's chickens, ducks, they're confined in very close quarters, when they're brought to the slaughterhouse, they fight and they are scared just like human beings. And this is what Master has taught us, but this always occurred. She just helped us to see that this is what was happening.
Great. If we see the real truth behind all these meals that we're eating, definitely we want to be a vegetarian, not only for our own health, but also for the health of Mother Nature. Thank you, Austin. Our time is up today. We'll be listening to this book over the next several episodes. Please join us next time to continue our discussion on the power of the heart. If you want to read this book we're talking about, you can find a copy of this book in any Jingsi bookstore and cafe. For more teaching from Dharma Master Cheng Yen, please tune in next time to our program. Goodbye and have a great day.
Deep in my dreams, I see your smile, the most beautiful smile in the world. Lines on your face are traces of love, comforting touches heal the wounds of my soul. As I grew up throughout the years, I've always turned away from your heart, but your forgiveness is vast as the sea, letting me brave the winds and waves, chasing my dreams. Your smile in my dreams is a haven of my life, just like a river running round the world. I am grateful for the dreams, for your smile of boundless love, day after day, as long as the earth and sky. As I grew up throughout the years, I've always turned away from your heart, but your forgiveness is vast as the sea, letting me brave the winds and waves, chasing my dreams. Your smile in my dreams is a haven of my life, just like a river running round the world. I am grateful for the dreams, for your smile of boundless love, day after day, as long as the earth and sky. Your smile in my dreams is a haven of my life, just like a river running round the world. I am grateful for the dreams, for your smile of boundless love, day after day, as long as the earth and sky.